Well, Election Day is just over a week away. You know all about the presidential candidates, and we've introduced you to your state and local candidates. But many voters will also have another decision to make. That's whether to support their local school district's request for more money. KIMT News 3's Matt Bradley shows us how that affects you in a special report.
Several schools are going to the voters this year. Some are looking for property taxpayers to commit to pay more up front to help with operating costs in the district. Others are looking for permission to borrow money to make a bigger splash and have the taxpayers pay that back down the road. In one local district, they're doing both at the same time. In Kingsland Public Schools, this is what education sounds like. An inescapable rumble heard in every classroom, sometimes in the background, sometimes right up at the forefront.
This one is actually one of the quieter units.
These air exchangers are useful, even needed on hot days or frigid ones, but it's easy to see why Superintendent John McDonald wants to find a quieter answer.
Heating and cooling, roofing, a number of things that need to be done.
But with budgets as tight as they are, paying for the repairs would be just a dream without some help.
If you're a homeowner, you know that everything is time sensitive, and sooner or later shingles have to be replaced on the roof, a house has to be repainted, things need to be replaced.
So they're turning to the voters. Kingsland is one of half a dozen southern Minnesota school districts asking voters to increase their own property taxes to help the schools meet their needs. Byron is looking for $10.2 million to improve school facilities. In Chatfield, it's $10.8. Leroy Ostrander, nearly $16 million. Mabel Canton and Triton have ballot questions too. Back in Kingsland, voters will actually decide on two requests. One is to borrow $13.7 million for a major expansion. If the building referendum passes, this area, which is a vast parking lot right now, would be transformed into a gymnasium, performing arts center, and early childhood education center.
Along with all the deferred maintenance items to bring the building up to good operations all the way through.
And if they want to know how to convince voters to pass these measures, they may want to look to their south.
If your community is behind your project, supports your school, then anything can happen and good things are going to happen for your students.
Osage Public Schools went to voters this past September asking for nearly $15 million for school expansion and repair. The answer from voters was no. Larry Heeman was one of the 52% who said no. And this is what he said the day after the vote.
They overdid it. They had too much on it.
Now, Superintendent Barb Schwaman is working hard to flip the vote by April. That's the next time they can legally ask again. They're surveying the community now to see if they need to change their plans.
We had community meetings that were well attended, but we just never heard from our no voters until the day of the vote.
One reason so many voters say no on a school referendum is because what it would do to a person's property taxes. Take this example. In a $150,000 home in Spring Valley, the Kingsland School District, that homeowner pays about $2,100 in property taxes. Here's how each one of those dollars is broken down. 15 cents goes to the county, 62 cents to the city, and 23 cents of every dollar right to the school district. Now, I don't have the cash to illustrate this next part, so we're going to switch over to monopoly money. But what this means in real world dollars is $472 goes to the schools each year for this homeowner. If both ballot questions are approved, he can add $178 on top of that, bringing the total property tax bill, city, county, and school, to $2,274.
That's an important question, is the bottom line, what's this going to cost us? But the questions also to ask before that is, if this is the bottom line, what will I expect? What can I expect from that bottom line? What will my kids receive? What will the education look like at Kingsland? How will that benefit our children now presently, and how will that benefit our children in the future?
In Kingsland, they're hoping to avoid the same fate that Osage saw, so they're going to great lengths to explain the issue. Their website has thousands of words on what they're asking for and why. And school board members are posting videos answering some of the questions that they get the most.
The reason in choosing this method was to inform as many people throughout the district as possible with information so that voters could make informed decisions.
Well, one lesson learned from Osage was not to try to do too much at once. McDonald says these two questions go together and will help them keep programs at such a level that the schools can continue to be recognized like they were in this national magazine for science and tech education.
We would have the dollars necessary to offer the education that we feel we need to offer here at Kingsland to be competitive and also to give a great education to our kids.
So maybe one day one of those kids will be inspired to design a quieter ventilation system. One thing school administrators want voters to understand is that a school budget doesn't work the same as the one you may use for your household. All of the money they receive has to go into specific funds, like a general fund where programs and salaries are paid, and construction funds, and money from one cannot legally be transferred to the other. The way Superintendent Schwaman in Osage puts it, that's why you see some school districts building major expansions while laying off teachers.
And 42 districts in Minnesota are putting questions on the ballot this year. Nearly all of them are to raise money. Albert Lees is to add a school board member, and Iowans will not see these questions. The state doesn't hold this type of vote on the general election day.